Hey guys, it's Dan from Soileater and welcome back to our One Take Wednesday series. Today in episode 26, I'll be going over my active shooter response kit, as well as kind of my theory and how I feel in relation to setting up an active shooter response plate carrier and just the gear that go along with it. So first things I want to go over today, two things. One is know your state's laws when it comes to carrying a firearm, whether it's loaded, unloaded, magazine inserted, magazine not inserted, and whatnot in a vehicle. That's super important. I hear people talk about like truck guns and all that stuff all the time. Make sure you're following all your state laws. The goal is to continue to be the good guy and not become a criminal based on gun laws. All right, we're all trying to skirt our way around those. Secondly is make sure your gear is secure. All right. If you have stickers on your vehicle, Glock, SIG, come and take it, all this stuff, you're just asking people to break in your vehicle and steal your firearms, right? Or at least look for them. If you saw my vehicle, you'd laugh at me. It's not the coolest vehicle in the world. That being said, the only sticker I have on there is a Soileater sticker, which are available on the site. And it's a niche community, right? So if no one knows what Soileater means, they're gonna be like, what the hell is that? All right. So make sure that whatever you carry your firearms in after following those laws, that they're also secure, all right? So the big thing with that is making sure that someone can't just break into your vehicle and then just grab the firearms. What I have here, and I'll go over this in a minute, this is a Pelican case. This is the Air model. It's 1615 is the model number for this one. It's got two little metal grommets where you can attach it to a cable lock with master locks. And that's what I utilize in my vehicle. So this thing's in there with that. I've got an Airtag in here, and then my vehicle itself has a Bluetooth system which notifies me on my phone. So there's monthly fees for that you can pay for, but I'd have you check those out if you're interested in any of those. So the big thing is just make sure that your vehicle does not scream, break into me, I have firearms, and then make sure that your equipment's secure inside of it. All right, so before I go into the actual case, I want to kind of talk about the theory I have and kind of my thought process behind an active shooter response. So the first thing I'll say is this is all secondary to this up here, right? In thinking. Thinking is super important when it comes to any of these things. I feel like there's a lot of like, oh, what do I need for an active shooter? I need comms, I need all this. Like, okay, well, what do you do? Like, are you a civilian? Are you law enforcement? Are you a firefighter? Are you ex-military or current military? Like, what do you do? What's your level of training? How much experience do you have with any sort of critical incidents? Because when I start hearing about comms and that sort of thing, like every critical incident I've been in, the radio is just craziness. It's just people talking way more than they need to and that sort of thing. So that's the first thing. And like the idea behind this is you want to be, I don't know how to explain this. You want to be an asset. You don't want to cause confusion and cause more chaos to an already chaotic situation. So with that becomes like identification. And that's the biggest one for me, is being able to identify you so you don't get shot by some cop who's extremely, we call them code black, or like, your heart rate's at a certain point where you're not thinking clearly, you're extremely stressed. And trust me guys, like there's plenty of cops out there like that, unfortunately. And that goes down with the level of training you have, the level of experience you have, and so on. So just be aware of that, all right? There's a lot of threats going into an active shooter. So I want people to realize, like, unless you're working and you're in a police car and you're in a police uniform, like there's still blue on blue situations like that. So imagine someone in civilian clothes now with some makeshift kit they threw together, trying to get ID'd by another person, right? Even if you're off duty. So the first thing I'll say is make sure you have a plan with your family. This could be a whole separate video. I don't want to dive too much into it, but have a plan with your family and prioritize what your goals are in that situation, right? And make sure your significant other is on board with that, especially if you have children and you're carrying around children. So I don't leave the house without, at very least, a pistol. All right, I always have a pistol on me. Wherever I go, I have a pistol on me. I don't always necessarily have an extra magazine, an IFAK and all sorts of things like that. If I know I'm going to the mall with a family, I'll throw the new Kegworks sling bag on. I'll rock an IFAK in there, an extra magazine, and so on. But with that, that's kind of my, oh crap, whatever's going on is right in front of me and I wasn't able to remove myself from the situation. So now you bump that up to an active shooter. Okay, well, if I'm able to get my family out safely, right, or my wife who carries as well is able to get them out, now I can maybe shift my priority, right? Shift whatever your priority is on that. And again, everyone's gonna have separate priorities, so I don't want to sit here and like say kind of what my thought process is on that. Like, you have to develop your own. With that being said, like, now I've got this big bin full of cool kit. Like, okay, great, we'll go in that in a second. But with that cool kit, how much of that do I want to put on? How long is it going to take me to put on? And is that time working for me or against me? All right. So you really need to think about, like, if I'm throwing my plate carrier on and my helmet and I'm turning on my radio and dialing it down and I'm, getting my rifle ready and so on, because I'm following the laws of whatever state you're in, right? How much time is that taking up, where maybe you could have just grabbed your rifle and ran in there? Maybe you could have just drawn your pistol and ran back in there, or press the thread, or whatever you need to do, right? But the point is that with all of this, I don't want guys to just be like, oh, I gotta throw on all this stuff. Like, you have to think about what's going on and think about, do you have the tools necessary to do it, right? Because maybe not having a plate carrier on makes it so that you don't even get to make it to the crisis site without going down. So lots of things to talk about. If you have any questions on that, kind of where my thought process is on that, hit me up in the comments or send me a DM. I'll be more than happy to answer those for you. But I'm trying to keep this video relatively short because I know I ramble on for a long time. So let's go into what all of you guys always want to see, and that's the kit. All right. So inside the Pelican case here, I've got just a 14.5 pinned BCM. All right, on here is the Comp M5, 2 MOA dot with a Halo Strategic sling, and that's it. Surefire Scout Light with backup iron sights. That's all, nothing fancy, right? This will do the trick. Whenever I talk about pistols versus rifles, all I think about is Clint from, what is it, Thunder Ranch, or whatever his company is, and he's talking about, pistols put holes in people, rifles put holes through people, and it's like, yeah, the terminal ballistics, like, you want a rifle. Rifle finishes fights. So I would 100%, if I have time, grab my rifle, because I'd much rather have a rifle in a gunfight. All right. Now we'll talk about the kit, right? So the plate carrier. So when I think of a plate carrier for an active shooter response, right, the one I use for off-duty is different than the one I use for on-duty, but they're very similar. So when I was working patrol, we didn't have external vests at the time, so we had a vest underneath my uniform shirt. I wanted a plate carrier that I could quickly throw on that would allow me to put it on over my my existing vest, right? So I wanted a cummerbund that was relatively adjustable. I'm just gonna move this out of the way, guys. I apologize for the headphone users out there. It might be a little loud. So I wanted a plate carrier that I could quickly throw on that would allow me to be comfortable and put the cummerbund on quickly. I didn't need any added protection, any armor on the sides, right? Because I already had my soft armor, and I wasn't going to run hard plates anyway. All right, that's a whole nother discussion you can talk about. But so with that, what I would run is, at the time, was a JPC. So this was a JPC 2.0 that I would run, and on the side of this, I actually sewed an adjustment. So if you can see there, what that is, that's elastic. So I made an elastic cummerbund that went into 1-inch webbing on the back. So that allowed me to adjust it, and then it was very quick to throw on. And this was my plate carrier for patrol. At the time, I did have the sheriff patch moved over to the side, and I had a gold little sheriff patch there, like the star, the sheriff star. I have since moved that to my other kit. That's what I'm currently running. And then I had 2 mags, and then another spot here that I could throw stuff in. What you'll notice on here is, like, even 2 mags is kind of a lot. My thought process behind that is, realistically, if you start looking at some of these active shooters, anything short of like the armed robbery and that sort of thing, or overseas in France, like, you're not necessarily needing 3-4 mags on your body, right? Now, would you much rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them? Absolutely. So my thought process there is, do whatever you feel is correct. At the end of the day, you're the one that's carrying all this stuff around, right? But just know that you might be running 100 yards in whatever you're wearing, and be very stressed out, be taking in a lot of information visually, audibly and whatnot, and you might be pretty smoked by the time you get there. And that's not to mention having to hop any curbs, or have you hop any fences, that sort of thing, right? So you're probably gonna be fatigued. So the first thing that's important is obviously physical fitness, and then trying to keep your kit relatively streamlined, relatively lightweight. And that's kind of my goals for stuff. So this is my plate carrier that I have in that box. What is it? So it is a Faro Concept Slickster. All right, so there's no soft protection here. I just have the elastic cummerbund. These are level 3, just level 3, not 3A or anything like that. Would it be good to have level 3A or level 4 plates? Yep, absolutely. But I just wanted this plate carrier to be extremely light. If it's my day and the guy's using green tip, it's my day, guys. So I'll see you up there. But with that being said, you'll notice, first things first, what stands out to you on this, right? Hopefully it should be the sheriff patch. So you'll notice, although this is a multicam plate carrier, which, you know, if you had unlimited money and whatnot, I have a black slickster here. I would probably go with a solid color, especially for civilian stuff, as well as law enforcement. I have a multicam one here only because I was utilizing this for other special details at work. But I would probably recommend a solid color, black, wolf gray, ranger green, coyote brown. But you can't go wrong with black. It blends in with stuff a little bit better. You can wear it under a shirt and whatnot, but it has multi-purpose. But the first thing you should see there is the sheriff identifier. Right now, does a sheriff identifier mean anything? No, right? You can buy these on Amazon. Anyone can buy them. You don't need to show creds to buy a patch, right? You don't need to. You can have your mom's sewing machine, the embroidery machine. You can make your own one. You could screen print your own patch. So like, just be aware that bad guys also can do that, all right? This is definitely not a video to train any of them. But with that being said, it's a Slickster plate carrier, level 3 Defender plates, a big black and yellow sheriff patch on the front, and an even larger one on the back, all right? So, like I said earlier in the video, you're gonna have all sorts of people responding to this active shooter, people that are in your department, people that are not in your department, the random civilians out there that are concealed carry permit holders and exercising their rights, and they want some too. So like, target discrimination is gonna be super important, for you 100%, but be aware that people might not be as good as you out there, and you really kind of have to worry about them as well. So I want to try to have anything that screams sheriff on me, I want to have it on me. All right, so what you'll notice here, I got a multi-tool, all right. Super useful, super important during an active shooter? No, I would say probably not. 2 rifle mags, are those important? Yeah, I would say those are important. And then moving over here is Glock 17 pistol mag with a 2 extender on there. Now the reason I have the Glock 17 is my work gun's Glock 17. My off-duty carry is either the Glock 17 or a 43X. So if I have the 43X on me, that's just gonna stay in my waistband, and guess what? I don't have an extra mag for that. Not the end of the world, right? Hopefully I grab the rifle. You'll do notice I do have a push-to-talk here with a spot to put a radio. Again, if I have a radio or someone can drop me off a radio later on when people start responding, I at least have a spot to put it. And I have the hookup push-to-talk as well, so eventually I'll be able to communicate with my team if I don't have my work vehicle there and it's just my POV. Moving into, this is a Haley strategic rig here, which is just modified with the 3 triple mag insert and a, let's see if you can see that, and a radio retention tab right there to hold the radio in. All right, moving to the front pocket. Again, I keep this very simple, guys. You're gonna have just a set of quick cuffs. This is actually, these are pretty cool. You guys will like these. So it's a Canadian company. It says maybe 1HU or 1HV flare. It was a Canadian company. These are essentially a pen flare device, right? So on one side, you've got green flares and red flares, and on the other side, these are bear bangers. And what bear bangers are is essentially, think of it as like, it's almost like an aerial flashbang. They're actually, for civilian use without any nonsense shipping costs or anything like that, they are actually very affordable, and they put up a hell of a bang in the air. So I think each one of these was about $6. The whole kit itself was maybe like $80. But essentially, you have just a pen flare here. So basically a little bolt action with a spring. It's got a firing pin in the middle. You can hook these on, launch it, and they'll go probably, I don't know, 15, 25 yards in the air, and then pop and blow up. And they're super loud. They get people's attention. So you can use those however you see fit. Obviously, it takes a long time to set them up, but flares and whatnot I felt was useful to at least have on me to identify things. Inside here, got a lock-picking set and a notepad. That's just stuff that was in here that I kept. I also have a Sharpie and a pen. So if I need to take any notes, take any things like that. Again, are any of these important for an active shooter? No. Basically, the plate carrier and the ammo is really all you need. Maybe a set of quick cuffs to detain someone, or ideally, my stance on quick cuffs. Real cuffs would work much better. All right, and then we're gonna move down to some medical. So on the bottom here, it's gonna be a Spiritus little dangler. In that, I've got a fully stocked IFAK. So I got a little bit extra there too. So I've got like 2 things of quick clot, 3 Z-folded gauze because it's cheap and does just as good. just as good, right? Then the Quick Clot, pressure dressings, Israeli bandage, and then I've got hyphen seal twin pack, and then latex gloves, both in there and on the front. Those important? Yeah, I would say those are important, right? The only thing I would say is, because you're going to be around people who you don't necessarily train with, is maybe mark that with some sort of identifier showing, hey, this is my medical pouch. All right. And then lastly, on the plate carrier itself, I just have my chems, right? So again, I'm a fan of chems. Chems mean different things to different people on different teams, but just know that chems are good for identifying stuff. Whether I'm on the phone with dispatch, letting them know, hey, I'm outside whatever room number, or I entered the building on this side. Like, I think people have a lot of fantasies or how this is going to go down. Like, you're out there saving the day, and don't get me wrong, there's definitely people that have saved the day. Who have taken 25, 40-yard shots with pistols in churches and malls. So like, the heroes are out there. But I would say preparation is going to make you be successful in that situation. So have the stuff, know how to use it, and that's the plate carrier itself. Moving over to the helmet. So do you need to have a helmet and active shooter? No. Again, like, this is a luxury item. Would I spend a ton of time throwing this on? No, probably not, right? If I have the time for whatever reason, would I throw it on? Yeah. How much time you're going to have? I don't know, right? So on here, one thing I would like to have, ideally, if I'm going to get in any sort of interior gunfight, is going to be hearing protection. It not only is it going to protect your ears, right, for long term, which is not the biggest deal in the world. There's more. What do I want to say here? There's more pressing issues than later hearing loss, right? Than what's going on there. But what hearing protection does do is provide you better situational awareness, where you're actually able to hear people screaming, hearing shots, hearing footsteps, that sort of thing. In here, I also have a pair of iPro. These are just ESS glasses. If you want to know what glasses I do utilize, go ahead and check out the eyeglass video in the One Take Wednesday series. But I do have a pair of iPro in here, helmet, hearing protection, also with a down lead for comms if I had a radio, which obviously I don't. So I obviously would not spend time hooking in my down lead. That would be probably flailing around while I sling my rifle. Right, and then again, I have Wilcox mount here, Hellstar on there, mandatory Soileater patch on the backside, which again means nothing to anyone. But if I'm going to get smoked by some terrorist, at least I'm repping the brand, right? So that's the helmet. Now again, like, is it good to have? Yeah. Will I throw it on if I have time? How much time you have, you don't know. All right. And then I do have a pair of gloves. Gloves I feel like are important as well. Especially if you're doing any sort of breaching in there. I like protecting my hands. And then what do you have for breaching? How are you getting in? How are you getting in whatever this this building is, or are you already in the building? Is it easy access? So like, do you have breaching gear in your vehicle? What type of breaching gear would you get, right? So like, Jersey Tactical makes the claw there, and that thing's freaking phenomenal, man. I'm watching all sorts of videos. I don't have one yet. I haven't used one yet, but I've been watching a ton of videos on it, and I'm probably gonna pick one up. But just a basic sledgehammer from Harbor Freight or Home Depot. Cut the handle to whatever length you want. And then the only thing you really need to spend money on is about $200 to $250 for some sort of 30-inch Halligan tool. If you're close to any of the fire guys, sometimes those fire guys have some that they're not using anymore. Maybe you could snag one from them if they hook you up. Or if not, that's what I'd spend my money on, right? So if I had to have a very basic active shooter kit, number one would be a rifle. Hands down. A rifle, reliable rifle with a flashlight and a red dot and a sling. Number two would be a plate carrier with maybe one mag on it. That would be my bare minimum. That's it, right? And then for breaching, I would have a sledgehammer and I would have a Halligan tool, right? Have a way to carry those, to interlock them maybe together, or a little bag that I could grab those and sling them around, even if it was like a golf bag or anything like that. What you guys name it, right? There's tons of options out there. That's the bare minimum I would have. And then I want to leave you guys in the video with this, is like, all this stuff's great. Go out there and get training. Obviously, I sound like Grand Thumb now, but go out there and get training so you know how to utilize this stuff. Speak to people who have been in critical incidents to understand them. Make sure you're debriefing other active shooters and really getting an understanding of how chaotic that's going to be, as well as how you want to respond to it, right? Realize that throwing all this gear on is going to increase your survivability, which may get you closer at least to the crisis site, but understand that every second you're spending throwing on kit and getting all armored up is more time that people are dying, right? So I can't tell you what the right answer is, right? That's something that on game day you're gonna have to decide. Hopefully you have that thought process though ahead of time so you're more prepared for that. All right, so I'll leave you on this. Go out there, do good, guys. There's a lot of evil in this world right now, so make sure you're going and training and getting ready because it's coming to the US. Until next week, take care.